Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about Motor City.
Vroom, vroom.
Oh my gosh. This is designed by Adam Hill, Ben Pinchback, and Matt Riddle. And it is published by 25th Century Games and Motor City Gameworks. And since we're talking about a 25th Century game...
It's fine muggy out there, anyway.
Isn't it, though? Isn't it great? There's a rocket ship in there.
Well, while you're enjoying your beverage, so my family, my dad's side of the family specifically, is from the kind of central eastern part of Michigan, where all the three big domestic car manufacturers are. So almost all of my uncles and my dad, my grandpa, all that stuff were involved in some level with a lot of those companies. And even now, I'm working at a car dealership as well, and have for the past 12 years. So this theme, makes a lot of sense to me.
Super funny. When we would go up, we haven't gone in years actually, but when we went up to visit Ryan's family in Michigan, it was just so funny to see all the other like car brands like disappear, and you were only left
the closer
with,
to Detroit you get,
yeah.
It's just down to the General Motors, Chryslers,
like, oh my gosh,
and the Fords.
We're the only Honda on the street. It was weird.
So yeah, this is a game all about the kind of that heyday, that golden age of the American muscle cars in the 70s in Detroit, right? And there's going to be opportunities for you to do production, engineering. There's even car dealerships where you can try to sell cars and make money that way. So all those things are represented in this game. This is a more strategic, a little heavier, thinkier style of roll and write game. They give you a quick overview of what some options that you can take on your turn are. All right, here is our setup for Motor City. All right, so every player is going to get 2 of these pages, 1 of each of them. So we've got on them different spaces where we can operate. We've got our engineering department. We have the production department. We have our shop where we're going to do all our research. We also have our testing area. And we have our score track for our speedometer. And then also we have our car dealership where we're going to try to sell our cars. We're also going to be able to do some service on the cars as well. This is the main player board that's going to be in the middle of the table. On the bottom of each of those actions, there's some kind of rewards and benefits you can take, but how you're going to choose which one you're going to take is based off the dice. Let's go ahead and roll those and then place them wherever they go. All right, so across the top we have the gray die. We're going to put it over here. The middle row is the white dice, and the bottom is the blue. Your pool of dice is going to be determined by the number of players. We're setting up for a 2-player game here just to show you kind of an example here. But when it's your turn, you're basically going to choose a location wherever there's a dice. The first thing you're going to do is take the bottom part of that action. So let's say we take this blue wrench here. We would get $2. We need to mark that off on our car dealership to show that we've gained those $2. Now we would gain whatever the action is on the dice. In this case, it is the production action. We have a little starting location there. We're trying to get to these various hubs in order to get some extra points. But along the way, we might get some resources as well. In this case, our starting location gives us another $1. So we go over here and mark it again. And every turn, we're going to finish up by doing a free research. Every 3 researches that you do, you're going to be able to get a free action of anything you want. All right, so let's say that Bethany's our opponent. For her action, she takes this one, and then now it's back to us. Let's take this action over here. All right, so for our board action, we're going to get another research. But then also, our dice here is the engineering section, which is over here. At the beginning of the game, you're going to be able to choose one of these tracks to be able to start off on. You're also going to choose one of these testing tracks as well. Let's just go ahead and pick one of those, and pick one of these as well, to show that's how we would have started the game. Now to actually take the engineering action, what you would do is you would go to one of those tracks wherever you have a meeple filled in, and you would fill in the bottom spot up. There's no rewards in that location, but the higher up we go, the better our rewards are going to be. And as always, whenever we finish our turn, we get a free research. This time around, we filled in one of the circles, which gives us a free action. Let's have our free action become another engineering. This time it's going to give us a free light bulb to give us even more research. All right, let's say Bethany drafts this dice. So what we're left with is that remaining production dice. What's going to happen is every player gets a chance to do that free action. Just the dice, not the location. So once again, we're going to do a production action. Once every player has taken that last action, we're going to clear the board, and now we're going to look at our speedometer over here on the far right side. If we'd had our speedometer filled in with any of those stars, we'd be able to score that on our first round here. In this case, we didn't have any, so we have a score of 0 for our first round. What's going to happen for this second round is we're going to re-roll the same 5 dice, but this time we're going to add in this red auditor dice. Again, we've got our gray across the top. We've got our blue on the bottom. And our white is in the middle. And now, what we are with our red auditor die is that car symbol. So that means this car action cannot be used this turn, which is terrible because we rolled 2 of them. As a reminder, we can take this and put it over that testing action to show that that cannot be used this round. So that is basically how the game is going to go. We're going to play 8 rounds of that. We're going to draft 2 dice each round, plus you're going to get the dice value of the last remaining dice as well for all players. You're going to be accumulating money in the car dealership. What you can do later on in the game, once you have some money accumulated, is you can forego an action on the board itself and instead spend money on one of these free actions here. So for instance, over here we have a chance to start another car by spending $8, meaning starting another track. We also can spend $4 to avoid that red auditor die. Or we can spend $5 to upgrade one of our actions the first time, or $7 to upgrade the second time. So what does that look like? So let's say earlier on we had spent $5 doing the production upgrade, and then later on we spent $7 more upgrading it again. So now our production value is 3. If we were ever to take a production action, instead of just filling in 1 X across the board here, we'd be able to do multiple. 1, 2, 3. And that particular symbol just happens to be yet another upgrade that we could give to, let's say, our sales department. So it's kind of just a quick overview. We have our speedometer, which is going to give you points every round. We have our car dealership, which is going to earn you money, and then eventually you can use that money in the service department in order to give you some various upgrades. We have our tracks, which are going to give you some various benefits, some rewards, also some victory points. And also, this track, as well as all our engineering tracks, are going to give you some very important prerequisites that you can use for production. Production is going to be where a lot of your points comes from, but some of these better ones are going to say things like, you need to have discovered this C tire and this C symbol over here. And they're going to be located on these various tracks, and on these various tracks over here in engineering also. And you're going to be continually getting research, and research is going to give you those free actions that you can use to keep on doing more of the things that you need to do to accomplish your goals. At the end of the 8th and final round, you're going to add up all the points you've gotten from the speedometer, all those 8 rounds, all the points you've gotten from the track, all the points you've gotten from the sales, engineering, and production, and it's going to give you a final total. Whoever has the most points wins the game.
There are so many options in this game. There's so many places you can go, so many tracks you want to go up, so many things you want to complete. There are just like, the dice are rolled and you're like, oh my gosh, which one do I want? I do not know which one I want. I want all of them, but I need to focus on this one so I can focus on this one so I can focus on this one. There's just so many options in this game.
I liked how in another game by the same design team, it was Three Sisters. In that game, this had this kind of cascading effect. If you were able to do one thing over here, it might trigger actions on the other side of the board. That might trigger more things down the line. That might trigger more things. So one thing that you did triggered all the other parts of the board as well. This is something very, very similar. However, I would say that it was a little bit more targeted in a way. So for instance, you might over here on one side of the board see that this is an action that you wanted to do. But then you have to kind of trace backwards and figure out what do you need to do in order to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe that requires you to go up on this side of the track and go around this track over here in order to fill this one part over here. So you're kind of strategically planning out ahead of time what that all looked like. And so how you start off in the beginning of this game is really important because it determines what your paths are going to be able to look like kind of in the midpoint of the game.
Yeah. And like I mentioned earlier, there's so many options that you want to do. There's so many things that you want to do. So it's really nice that the game provides you an opportunity to upgrade some of these actions so that way they can be bigger and better, because oh my gosh, if you're just crossing off one square every single turn, you just will not get to do what you want to do. So I like that the game has built in this opportunity for you to make your options bigger and grander and better so you can do more in a turn. So I really like those upgrades.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, this is a strategic game. You have to kind of know your path before you take it, so that way you can kind of see what your options are and kind of build up from there. I really enjoyed that about this game. However, there's also this thing called the auditor. As in all businesses, there's something that's got some regulations and things that are going to spoil your fun in the industry. In this case, we've got this red die, the auditor die, and what's going to happen is you're going to roll it at the beginning or at the end of every turn. It's going to show you during the next round there's going to be certain actions that you cannot take during that round. But what's a little weird about that is you might have been planning meticulously, strategizing ahead of time what paths you're going to take, what you're going to do, what you're set up to do, and then all of a sudden you're finally able to kind of make that all happen, and then you can't take production this turn because the auditor says so. Like, I get why they did it. It's kind of a little of a restriction, a little bit of a kind of a wrinkle in the works. I like that, but it just sometimes it was very frustrating having to, like, you know, you were all completely set up to do something and then you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
There's always something you could do, which is nice, but it would be much less perhaps than what you were planning on doing.
I did feel like we had to refer to the rule book a bit more than I would have wanted to. I would want things to be more, not obvious or intuitive, but we just kept having to refer to that. And not just on like the first play, you know, when you're discovering things, but in subsequent plays, we kept on having to refer back to that. And I would have liked to not have been able to do that. Luckily, it didn't take me out of the gameplay. I was still engaged. That's one of my things is if I have to go to the rule book so much to where I'm not in the gameplay anymore. But that didn't really happen with this. I wasn't out of the gameplay. I just had to refer to it more than I wanted to.
Overall, this is a heavier, a thinkier, more strategic planning ahead style roll and write game, which I enjoyed that kind of thing. I think that's the direction that roll and writes are headed, and I think that's great. You can get a much thinkier experience with very few components, really. Just a pad of paper, some dice. You know, that's all you need in order to get a great experience like this. I will say this is not like a my first roll and write. No. This is not something that you want to jump in head first. I would suggest, you know, if you do not have a lot of experience with the roll and writes, maybe play some other ones first so you can kind of see how they work and what how that mechanism it kind of ramps up before you jump in head first into a game like Motor City, which is going to be a little bit more involved and straight out of the rulebook, it's not going to click, you know, right away.
So this is a game to where you play it the first time and you're like, oh my gosh, I totally know what I did. I can do this better. So let's play it again because I'm going to try something different. I'm going to be able to do it better. And then you play it again and then your score's worse. But that's okay because you totally get it and you're going to try this different avenue now because you know that to get here, you need to do that, this and this, and you can do it this time. You can totally get it. So then you play it again, and you missed this, you got that, and so you didn't get exactly what you wanted to do, but that's okay because you can just play it again. And this is a game that you think that you're going to be able to beat, but the game beats you every time, and you keep coming back to it. You're like, I can do this better. Like, it was an exciting feeling because you play it, and you're like, I can definitely do this. Like, I can do this better. So you're coming back to it because you're like, I can beat this. The game keeps beating you, but you think that you can do that. And that's like a really exciting feeling in a game where you feel like there's so much more to explore, that you can do better, that you can figure out the game when the game just really reads you instead. But that's just like a really exciting feeling in a game.
Yeah, you guys, this was a fun one. If you like the car theme, that American Muscle theme, check this one out.
Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. If you enjoy what you saw, consider leaving us a tip. There's a link down below and how to do that. Until then, you can follow us in all of these places.
Yes, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.